Okay, so to wrap February 2026 up, I wanted to take this time and reflect on a movie I watched. So this month I have watched a movie. It's called Mellow Movie on Netflix. The film it centers on a young couple that's navigating the weight of childhood, their adolescence, and the loss that they experienced in their childhood adolescence, and how those experiences shape the way that they approach their careers, their relationships, and emotional vulnerability. The loss was not just part of the story, but it also was the driver of how they showed up in the world. So for me, I found the movie to be very therapeutic. February marks the death anniversary of my grandmother, and I spent this month reflecting on her life while I'm evaluating my own life. Sorry. What resonated most was the importance of creating healthy, continuing bonds in the grieving process. There's a scene where the boyfriend is planting flowers for his girlfriend's mother in their yard. And as he's planting the flowers, she asks him if he continues to, have a lot of things on his mind and not express them. And he did share he felt like that he gotten better about that. So she just, encourages that, he expressed those things, because sometimes when you don't express those ongoing thoughts in your mind, like, you just don't get no resolve. And so his response to that was, what if they're no longer here anymore? And she responds and she says, existence is more than meets the eye. That line, it really stayed with me. As the younger generation would say, clock it, clock it. Okay, mom. But anyways, so as a therapist working with individuals experiencing grief and life transitions, I hold a mission to honor those willing to examine the past while sitting in the present and preparing for the future. Grief and life transitions often surface strong emotions, unresolved wounds, unprocessed traumas. Continuing bonds are not about staying stuck. They are about integrating love, memory, meaning, and unfinished conversations into a life that keeps moving forwards. So, while I plan to share some strategies for cultivating healthy ongoing bonds with those who are no longer physically present, I also want to acknowledge those who are still here. Time is the most valuable resource we can offer another person. If you can afford to give your time, give it intentionally. We often underestimate the gift of presence until it becomes a memory. So, I'm going to share with you my favorite continuing bonds, or ways that I do continuing bonds. So, one for me is the rituals for special days. So an example of that would be lighting a candle, playing a favorite song, hold a small gathering. So for me, I do play. So it's the month of February, right? And that is her death and my grandmother's death anniversary. So I play the Barnes Family a lot. Now I cannot confirm that was her favorite music artist, but what I can say is that was the last CD she had in her CD player. So at that time, I couldn't really put my finger onto them in those songs. Like, I've heard some of the songs before, but I didn't know who they were. So I fell in love with the whole series. I think she got it from her son-in-law. I'm not too for sure. So I play that. That is one way that I kind of honor her in the month of February. Another way that I do is I tell stories. I talk about her a lot. I bring her up more. And I just think about her. And another one that is my favorite is legacy projects. So at the time, I wasn't really too sure, or I didn't have a word for legacy projects, but legacy projects, creating my private practice and naming it after her. Leslie Dolores Counseling Services. So Leslie is my grandmother who passed away. Though I could never have the pleasure of calling her by any of her government names. She had to be referred to as grandma or grandma. But you know, I created the Legacy Project. I thought about her when creating it, and I think her often in how I show up in the world and how I support others. And so I thought I would name my private practice after her to keep her name alive, and also to continuously, showing up for others and giving. She was a very giving person. And, she was like, everybody could get something from her or learn something from her, not get something, excuse me, learn something from her. So why not continue spreading that energy, that love, that knowledge, that support for others? And yeah, I have created a worksheet. It's called Continuing Bonds, the 12 ways to stay connected with your loved ones. If you want a copy of that worksheet, let me know. You can send me a message, share with me your email, and I can send it to you via email. So just let me know if you would like a copy, so that way you can see what your favorites are out of the 12. Or if you have one that is not necessarily listed, but it's a way that you have a healthy continuing bond, please share that with me. I would like to know. So thank you for your time as I reflect and wrap up February 2026. March is coming up. This my birthday month. Yay. Something to look forward to, something to be excited about. Yay. Anyways, have a good one. And I am wishing you a very wonderful, wonderful, wonderful start to March. Take care.